welcome back. I'm gonna try to be like chipper every time I start videos. I mean, I'm a human being, so obviously I experience a range of emotions, more so than you're gonna get to see. Who knows? Maybe one day I'll get really sad about something, and I'll show you that too. Not that it doesn't happen now, but I wanted to kind of talk to you today. I'm really looking at trying to build some content, and right now I think the best thing for me to do is to kind of establish a relationship, but also an understanding of really what I want to make of this, what I want this to become. And I did choose a name for the vlog series, and I'm not sure that I'm going to keep it, but for right now I think that it really suits the vibe I'm trying to put out there, and the context that I'm going to create. Leroy is prancing by me over here, by the way. He's doing a little dance. You could probably hear his toenails on the floor. But as far as the name, it is Mugwump Pablum right now, and Mugwump was a name that I kind of was given by a friend of mine many years ago that I met, and based on conversations that we had and how hesitant I was to establish any kind of real opinion about certain things because I hadn't had enough information yet to pick a truth of my own. There was just more information than I could process about it, so I decided I would kind of try to stay as center as possible until I figured things out. I don't know if I'm ever going to figure things out. I don't know if anyone ever really figures things out. But Mugwump Pablum is the name that I chose, and Mugwump apparently originated in an Algonquin dialect in Massachusetts, and it meant at the time great chief. I think maybe translated by Puritans and people in the area when settlers came in as war leader, which I'll have to get to let me get to the rest of the definitions because there's quite a few. And I suppose they could all be right. Again, if you're a mugwump, you've got to sit on the fence and look at all of them and think, all right, well, I'll let you decide which part of the definitions you think suits this, because really it could go any direction. Who knows? But mostly it's kind of evolved over time. And I think it was 1663. It was translated by a Puritan, I think it's John Eliot, and he was translating the Bible into Algonquin and used the term pretty much as I think it was Duke officer, as someone of a position of power or influence. And so that kind of started its transition into some other definitions. And in 1884, apparently a political activist group, which were previously a Republican political group, shifted and shifted their party because it was, I think, Grover Cleveland and James Blaine in 1663 in the presidential election. So they decided to shift and support Grover Cleveland over James Blaine, and then they were kind of, the term became known as almost like a political turncoat of sorts, because they had been very strongly on this side and then switched sides. In a way, I appreciate that historical context, because the turncoat, I mean, obviously that sounds very bad. You know, it's like, ooh, you know, you had this thing that you were standing for and then you changed your mind. But I don't think there's anything wrong with changing your mind. I think that changing your mind is an important skill to have. If you are too dogmatic about anything, you are surely going to be wrong very much of the time. So I think that you really have to keep yourself open to being able to shift and change direction when new evidence is presented, or things that maybe you were previously unaware of become seen in the light, and you can decide then that maybe you were wrong and change and be okay with that. I think that's okay. In fact, I really appreciate people who can do that. It's a skill I think that we have to work on all the time. And then from there, it actually shifted again to really kind of just be a more all-encompassing term of someone who's kind of a fence sitter, and mug ended up, it was, you know, they were holding their mug on one side of the fence and their wump was on the other side of the fence. So really they were kind of on, not really on either side, just sitting on the fence. And I kind of appreciate that definition as well, because to me that's, it at least allows you to get a little bit more information around you, a little bit more perspective than just, I mean, obviously if you're at the bottom of the fence, you might just be looking at the base, you can't even see the other side. And then another, the dictionary definition, I think the first thing that'll pop up if you were to type mugwump into Google is a person who remains aloof or independent, especially in party politics. And this is not a political vlog or anything like that. But again, I just think that the term seems to fit a lot of, I think that just the time that we're in as well. I mean, I'm not going to get into it, but if you look at our current presidential election, the primaries, everything that's happening right now, it seems that there is a lot of shifting happening. There's a lot of, there's perspectives that are moving from one side to the other, that are, things are being shaken up quite a bit. So again, I think in the context of the time right now, it makes sense. And then pabulum is really kind of a dictionary definition of pabulum is bland or insipid intellectual fare or entertainment. And then, or it's also food or intellectual sustenance. And I'm not stating that this is going to be some, you know, deep intellectual, we're not going to dig into, we will dig for sure, but I don't want it to be anything that kind of puts out a vibe of, you know, this isn't something that's just, I think it's everyday conversation. I think it's stuff that we all think about. I think we are all on the same page a lot of the time. We just don't really acknowledge that in other people. So that's the name, Mugwump Pabulum. That's where I am right now. And the other thing that I wanted to talk about, because I think this is important, especially, you know, the tragic loss of Prince, everybody's mourning. And he was one of the great musicians of our time and great influencers in music of our time. I think all of us have been touched by his music and his creativity and his genius. And I'm just really drawn to anyone who has a passion for something and works towards that passion. I think it's easy for us to get so focused on something that is far off and thinking there's nothing wrong with thinking about the future, but I mean, life is short, and so many of us don't live out our passion. We don't live out, we don't try so hard. We're scared, we're fearful that we might fail. I am. Honestly, I'm a little terrified about this project in a way. I mean, when I'm getting in bed at night, I'm thinking, oh God, what are people gonna think? And who knows what will happen? Nothing might happen. This might not go anywhere, but I have to try. You have to try. I've started taking piano. This is, again, Gertrude. Y'all remember Gertrude? Oh, Gertie. She's I think a 60s, 70s Kohler and Campbell upright piano. And I've only had Gertrude now for about, 6 months or so. No, maybe like 8 months. And I started taking piano lessons about 2 years ago with now someone who is a very good friend of mine. And I wish I had started earlier. I've always had a passion to play music, to write music, to sing. I was in a band before I moved to Baton Rouge, which is where I live now. And we were together for 3.5 years. It was so much fun. I had so much fun. And we weren't the greatest thing in the world. We had a blast together. We were working on things. We were being creative. And that's some of the best memories I will have in my life are from that time. And I'll treasure them. And I love that I got an opportunity to do that. And my opportunities are not, they're not gone. They're still out there. I just have to reach for them. Things are changing a lot in the world, in our economy. I think that the creators are the ones that are really going to be the movers and shakers. And it's really I think it's being proven that being able to create something and make something that is valuable to the world, valuable to someone, that can get you giving back in a way that you can use your talents, your creativity, whatever it is in you, whatever thing that is that you love, you can give it back. And I really want to see more people doing that. I want to see more people creating things, whatever it might be. You can create whether it's an app or a song or a painting or a poem or even a scientific breakthrough, something that you have worked hard for and that you're passionate about. So that's kind of my thing, and that's where I want to go with this project. Is I want to encourage all of you, encourage everybody to kind of maybe even look back into your past and think about the things that you might regret not following through with, but that you really loved and you thought, I could have been really good at that. The worst thing that can happen, I think, to anyone is that living in the past of that, oh man, remember this, things were great when we did this, and being stuck in that past that you think is always going to be better than the now or whatever's going to happen in the future. And I see it, and it makes me sad because I'm like, that's not the case, and it doesn't have to be the case. The now and what's happening from here on out is all we have. It's all gone. The past it's gone. It's good to think about and remember these things. It keeps us grounded and moving forward and learning and not making the same mistakes again. And the failures that we experience are important. So I want people to kind of see today as the jumping off point for something great that you can do. And I hope that I help you feel excited about it and want to do it and want to discover whatever creative talent you have and really go for it. Whether you have, I know time, having kids, if you have a really high stress job, a lot of people just feel like they don't have the time for it. But I don't think that you'll regret it. If you make the time, I think that you won't regret it. You don't want to get to the end and feel like this thing that you really could have been great at or could have shared with the world that you love, that you kept it inside of yourself, because that to me is just heartbreaking. But I don't want to go too far because I'm looking at this 12 minutes in, and I'm going to come back again soon. If not, maybe something short this afternoon, tomorrow. So thank you so much for watching, and I'm excited. One last thing, I do want to. This is my. This was my morning response after hearing about Prince's death, and I know I've actually shared it on Facebook, and I haven't told anyone other than my husband and a friend or two about it. But I had made this a picture of a ballerina that, after hearing the news, I think I got a little crazy with it, and I just destroyed her. Whatever it was, whatever sadness I felt, it came out in here, and now it's a print that I had recreated digitally, and it's really my response. It's my ballerina. She was hit by the train. She got hit by the train. You can kind of see her legs here. This is the train tracks and kind of the storm, the incoming storm here, and that was kind of a direct emotional response to hearing about Prince's death, and I hope that whatever that means, whatever sadness is inside of us when we see these amazing talents, when they leave us and we feel loss, we feel a creative loss, we have to be the ones to take that mourning, that loss, that feeling of loss, and make something new, create something new, give birth to something beautiful out of something tragic and something sad. It's the only thing I think that we really can do. So thank you guys so much for watching. I hope this is long, 14 minutes. Jeez. Okay, maybe I can edit it. Anyway, thank you guys so much. I'm really looking forward to doing this more, and I hope everybody gives me feedback on and questions if you have questions about things, and I'd like to establish some back and forth, and you can help me with some ideas moving forward about things to talk about. I've got a lot of ideas. I'm really excited, so thank you so much, and I'm looking forward to talking to you again. All right. Bye. Ah.